Hi, welcome back to 12 Step Up. My name is Richie. Before I forget, like, share, subscribe. Um, we do this show because we want to help other people that are suffering to try to find recovery. Today we have Darryl. This is my friend Darryl, guys. How are you, Darryl?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
How? So Darryl and we work together. I've heard about Darryl, but I'd never actually met him. But I heard you were a good guy. I'm still determining that. Still trying to,
It might take you a while to
yeah,
figure it
still
out.
trying to figure that out. Um, so how long you been sober for now? Clean and sober.
Clean and sober since 21 December 30th, so just over 2 years.
Just
Just
over
over
two
two
years.
years. Yeah.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
brother. I know you do a lot for the community, and I know you don't do any of the other programs, um, but you do something very important that's tied into most other programs, which is service work. And I know you do a lot of that. You're out in the community, you're helping people out, you're doing all these things that help you stay sober. Why don't you tell me a little bit, or why don't you tell me? So we don't really on this show, we don't really talk about like war stories, right? And
No, no,
and
I
so
don't. I don't talk about them.
so basically, why don't you tell me what the worst thing in your career of drinking and using was? You don't have to be specific. Just tell me what the worst situation ever got yourself in.
The worst situation, honestly, was right about the time the best situation started. I was living at the mission. I'd been there for a while, and I'd went through the loss of a son, and that's kind of where it got, in my home. And fast forward 10 years, I've been going, and then I was living in a mission. I was working at the time still, but I just couldn't get out of my head, and I just decided I was gonna finally made a decision to take my life, and I tried to, and I was at my rock. I thought that was my rock bottom, but I tried to take my life while I was there at the mission. Ended up in the hospital. Ended up in Lords actually, and um, that was that was the very that was the worst time of my life. With next to the day I lost my son. As far as you know, the day I lost my son was the worst day of my life, and the day I wanted to give up on my life. I can't really describe either one as far as.
Yeah, it's painful.
Yeah, yeah. It was real. It was the loss of Robbie was something I still struggle with today, but I've learned to deal with it differently. I made choices to work on how to live versus trying to survive.
Yeah, and I know the loss of a loved one. I don't know what it is to lose a child, but I lost a brother. Um, that's what threw me over the edge. Back from that, as you know.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think we ever fully come back from it. We just people say I always hear time heals wounds. To me, I don't feel like it heals the wounds, but it changes them.
yeah.
You know, it changes how you live. It changes how you deal with it. There's a
Yes.
lot of changes that happen, but it's the wound's always going to be there. I feel it every day.
Yeah.
So, but I with the things I do is what helps me, you know, get through the day sometimes.
So tell me when or what or how you decided I'm gonna get clean and sober.
Wow, that's kind of I'll just skim through kind of the process that took place. Uh, a week after tried to take my life, I went back to the mission. I was very disheartened, honestly, because I didn't succeed. I didn't want people thinking, "Oh, I was doing it for attention," and that was the biggest and hardest, well, one of the hard things to deal with, surviving it. Um, but about a week later, there's these guys with this group, Clean Sweep, that go around do stuff in the community. And this was back in like April of 21, roughly when I first kind of encountered him. And then when I'd seen him out there a few times, and then in June was when that happened, and that I did that. And shortly after that, I was out there. They're out there doing one of their outreaches by the mission, and the founder Mark had asked me to go out on his boat, go for a ride. And I just honestly at the time I was just like, what does he want to do with me? I'm just a guy at the mission. And but we went out and we talked about life in general. We talked about his story and where he came from and the things that he'd been through and how, God, how Jesus brought him to where he's at today. And I kind of told him my story, and I wasn't very much into, I wasn't feeling Jesus at the time, let me tell you. But it intrigued me, and that's what sparked it. Um, that conversation carries with me today. Um, and then I honestly I just decided to not try to take my life anymore. I just like you just got to try and figure this out. You're gonna do it later. Just keep moving. And so I started going out with them more and more often. I was still getting in front of myself um, and relapsing and kind of behind the scenes type thing. Um, but I kept getting more. I kept struggling through that time. Once I started feeling better about myself, that's when I would try to destroy myself. That's when my relapses, because I had such guilt over I think of the loss of my son is where it was, is I didn't deserve to be happy. And I didn't deserve people liking me. And so that's what it was just like a repetitive thing. And my last relapse, I'd gotten into meth too, right at the end, and that's when I did that, and I was in the mental health court at the time, and I got caught by them. I got kicked out of my Oxford house, which I'd already been kicked out of a few um, due to relapses, and I landed up in a church, and lo and behold. And before all this happened, I mean, I cried out to God. I prayed to Jesus. I did everything. And I kept thinking, why isn't this going away? And then after this last relapse, and going through the court process of it, getting called out on it, feeling embarrassed about it. I was more embarrassed about it. I wanted to tell everybody the truth, but it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And when I landed up in that church, I don't know. It didn't have nothing to do with the church itself, but I was by myself, is what it was. Is I was by myself. I had time to think, and what are you gonna do? This is just a constant thing. You keep doing this. What are you gonna do now? And I wasn't so much praying as hard, but I still pray. But I didn't have no pink cloud moment. I didn't have nothing. I still remember telling people, God, I feel clear now. And I felt I didn't have the urge to go drink. I didn't have the urge to use. Um, what I did do every day was think about somebody else in some fashion, you know. And in my mind, what I do is I go back. I remember sitting at Somerset inside the class, and back when I was struggling before, and Mark had texted me and goes, "Why don't you go out and try and find some warm gloves for a winter out because it was cold out at that time." And then I'd ask him later. I was like, "Hey, I couldn't find any." He didn't, hardly know what I was talking about. But what it was, he just wanted me to get out of my head, stop thinking about myself, and thinking about others. And so at that time, that's what I started focusing on. I mean, when I go to the stores, opening up doors in the grocery store, start thinking and enjoying, and you know, once I really started when I'd go out to do these outreaches, I didn't feel them sometimes, but I knew I felt better when I came home. And so I just thrived on that. I still thrive on that today, you know, and that's where it all happened. And it just, and my life, I pray and things happen. You know, I give to others. I love people with a real heart. You know, that to me, that's the big thing. You got to be, when you're out there doing stuff with people, you can go out there and do it for show, but it doesn't take. You know, if you don't really care, don't do it. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess I don't. Well, I don't want to say it that way, I guess either. But I mean, it's, you know, I feel that I can love again.
Well, that's your love language, bro.
You know,
Service. So the reason I wanted to interview you was because I see how much you give back to the community. It's pretty typically I interview people that are working some kind of program. But I see the way you work your program, which is your program, and I admire that because you're doing your thing, you're helping others, and I see you helping others, and now you know I know for a fact that you graduated from the
mental health court.
the mental health court, and you like you did all that, and you're still, we work together, and then I see what you do, and every now and then we get to collaborate with some people, which is awesome, and the resources, you're still, even at your job, you're still like helping others. So I appreciate that about you. I admire that from people that can do that. So, what are your plans in the future?
I don't have any.
That's right.
I don't have any at
That's
all. And you know,
that's
people
right.
say they see me out doing a lot of stuff in the community. You know, it's crazy because I don't see what other people see,
Yeah.
and I don't see it the way you see it or the way somebody else sees it. I just see, you know, what's in front of me that day, or I might have something that I might be trying to work on, or something that's on my heart. But you know, like I say, it's humbling. Like, I'm not a fan, I guess, of the way people kind of see me, because I'm not doing it for attention. I'm doing it because it's something I want to do, you know, and so,
Because it's
and that's
healing
what
you,
it's
bro.
about. Yeah, that's what I'm working on me, you know.
That's right.
Yes, I'm trying to help others, but it's part of who I am, you know, and I think that was the biggest, um, well, there's so many big things. Accepting myself as God accepts me, basically being okay with being me.
Yeah.
You know, I might cuss, you know, I'm not perfect, you know, but he still loves me just the way I am.
Yeah.
My convictions are mine. My relationship with him is mine. You know, there's nobody can tell me, oh, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that. You know, that's between me and my Jesus. That's it. You know, I have no problems. Once I realized I can be who I am and be okay with who I am, that made a lot of difference for me too. And I learned that by being out with the men and women, you know, that come out with clean sweep, and not just them, the other people I meet, you know, to accept them just the way they are. That's where a lot of things happen for me too, is people were accepting of me, of Darryl, you know, knowing that that before I got clean, they, you know, nobody talked about what I did yesterday. Literally, they didn't. It's okay. What are you doing from this day forward? Happened again. Okay, what are we doing this? You know, it was never something I had to worry about, or I didn't feel judged, or I didn't, you know, I was embarrassed if I figured they knew, but I was able to get past that because they didn't. There was never no attention, on what I'd done, or that possibly I might have relapsed, and now I'm back. That's all they cared about, is that I was there and they loved me unconditionally. And that's what I want to give to people too, is, you know, love them unconditionally, because, you know, that makes a big difference when you relapse or you're struggling and you're worried about what other people think, even though everybody says you can't worry about it, we do.
Yeah.
We do. You know, and it plays a part in our life.
See, I don't. So I don't have like a relapse in my story. I came in like a lot of us, uh, beaten and broken. Um, I when I came in uh, to sobriety, I just wanted to be able to see my daughter from my second marriage, right? And so like I told myself I'll stay sober for a year, right? And that year turned into 2 years. And those 2 years turned into more years. And to be honest with you, I don't have that thought or desire. Every now and then I'll get a fleeting thought. Um, I have come close to relapsing a couple times. One time I was very, very, very close a few years ago. And to be honest with you, that scared me, man. You know, because I don't ever want to feel how I felt when I first came in. And you and I our stories are very similar. Um, just from the times that we talk. I know you haven't heard my complete story, but you and our stories are very similar. And so I don't have a relapse in my story, um, but I do see people come in and beat themselves up for their relapse, and that's okay if you want to beat yourself up, but you're
We're
just
going to.
yeah, but you're just beating yourself out to another relapse, right? Um, you just go back to doing um, what you're doing to help you, right? And that obviously whatever you're doing is helping you. Whatever you're doing is helping you stay clean and sober. So having said that, I want to talk a little bit about um, your sweater there. I see those green sweaters everywhere, and I know you do a lot with them. And the reason I remember when you started working with me, somebody said, "Oh yeah," and I had heard your name throughout the community, but I didn't know who you were. And when you started working there, I remember my friend says, "Oh yeah, Darryl's gonna come and work with us. You know Darryl?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, I don't. I don't know who Darryl is." And then I
That's
remember,
so weird to me. People that still strikes me weird
yeah. And
when people
so
do,
and
do that.
so so when you started working there, I was like, "Oh, dude, I like this guy. He's pretty cool." And then the more I started talking to you, the more I realized our stories were very, very, very similar. But I see you doing a lot for for
I can tell you exactly what it is, what clean sweep is to me, and is because they were there, meeting people where they're at. I was met where I was at the mission, you know, and that's the way they are. All of us are. We are who we are. We have people that are in addiction. We have people that struggle with every type of thing. I don't even name them. Anything struggle a person has, you know, eating or depression or anything. It's not about. It's about we're all in some sort of recovery in life, and clean sweep people that are drawn to clean sweep because we're there for them. You know, we're there for each other. You know, it's not about one person.
so like right now you just came from
An outreach.
an
Yeah,
outreach. What did you guys do?
we just went and kind of loved on a lady that had just needed a little help around her yard. You know, and that was and fixed a couple panels on the fence. You know, and we do all. I couldn't have even begin to tell you all the various different outreaches we do, but we go to where people are. You know, it's, it's hard to explain. Like trying to, I was told not too long ago, trying to explain clean sweepers, trying to explain the tentacles, or you know, there's so many like on an octopus, they got all these things, and I mean, we could be parking cars for the races, We could be helping somebody that likes to collect excessive things in their homes, or helping a veteran with their yard, or helping somebody elderly, or going out and picking up garbage. That's where my heart is picking up garbage. Um, and the people that are come out with clean sweep, it varies because I think when we go out and do outreaches and when we're working with the homeless, we bring in hot food and coffee and hot cocoa and stuff. There's a lot of people. That's where their heart is to go out and do that.
So
You
that
know.
so you beat me to that because I was gonna say every time I see you guys doing an event, there's always food, right? And that most of the time that food is donated, right?
Well, yeah, everybody just brings a dish. Basically, it's like a potluck.
Yeah,
We don't go out to feed the homeless. We don't go out we go out to eat with them.
yeah.
We're it's not there just handing stuff out. It's a true potluck. Everybody comes out. We're all eating food. We're all drinking. Giving loving on them, and it's it's not like you think a lot. There's like soup kitchens where people are out giving homeless the food. I know when I was out there, what made it a big difference with me was they were right there doing the stuff with me.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like they were handing me stuff. It wasn't a handout. It was a hand up, and with a heart. That's yeah.
That makes the difference, doesn't
It
it?
does because when people love you unconditionally and don't know you, you can feel that when
Yeah.
it's unconditional and it's real, and that's where the difference comes in. Um, and that's what I love about it. This group was started with Mark took some of his family and a couple friends, like 6 or 7 of them, and went out and picked up garbage. There's 5,000 people now. You know, he didn't do that. God did that. It grows because it's real and it work. It's not even a program. I mean, it's just people coming together in the community.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it's about, is just coming together and meeting people where they're at. That's something that's going to be a part of who I am. It is part of who I am.
That's right.
And it always will be. You know, the and our community sees it and they love it, and I feel blessed to just be a part of it.
Yeah.
I That's all I care about at the end of the day, is to be a part of it and to go out and love on people where they're at, and try and help make a difference where I can. Just like going and talking to the treatment centers and stuff like that. I pray before I go in and do those and talk in there. I don't even, it's about trying to help even if it's one person. That's what it was for me when someone took a moment out of their life to come talk to me. He didn't know the impact of that conversation that changed a whole trajectory of my life.
Yeah.
So why would I not want to give that to somebody else? And I don't need to know if I made that impact. I just want to know that I put that out there to help. And sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I've had people get upset with me too, but I'm trying to just do the best I can. And that's all I can do.
And you are, man. And you are. You really are. I appreciate everything that you do, man. So having said that, I think our time is up. So for any of you out there here locally, now you know who Darryl is. So make sure you go up to him and say, "Hey, what's up, Darryl?" Once again, thank you, man. I appreciate you, brother. I love you. So there you go. That's Darryl. Once again, like, share, subscribe, share it. As you guys have seen on this show, we have people that are in recovery for many, many different things, and everybody does the best they can, just like Darryl. So thanks a lot. See you guys.